My first step would be hiring the right marketing person. When I was younger, I didn't want to spend any money on marketing because I didn't appreciate the value of it. It's so important to know what you're doing, but if you don't have any clients, that doesn't help you or the market. There are attorneys that are very good at marketing, and some of them may not have their clients' best interests at heart. I even lack the words to say how delighted and pleased and blessed I am to be able to help so many people and reach them and get standard calls. And there are times when bankruptcy isn't a solution for them, but maybe I can recommend they talk to someone in an appropriate area, point them in the right direction, and it's very fulfilling. So I think that's the thing. I definitely, you need to have your technical knowledge, but without appropriate marketing help or a marketing guru, you're going to labor in anonymity.
Just trying to figure out a better process to automate the collection of all the documents and keep those better organized and have onboarded someone sooner to handle that.
Getting a mentor.
My first step would be probably trying to find somebody that could help generate leads that were ready to file, people that were closer to the filing process as opposed to just somebody looking out. But I think that it's just like anything else. I think having a community of people that you can talk to, that you can work with, and it's just like life. You got to have a community to be able to make this practice work.
Technology. All right. I mean, you're going to have your website. You've got to do those kinds of things. I would want to make sure my marketing was probably much more social media based than when I started, because social media is a really good, strong place to get leads. It'd be very hard for you to get a website that's going to compete with mine because mine's been there for 15 years. But technology is going to let you do petitions faster. Lean into that. And again, I think you can do your social media, because I think when you're starting a law firm, you got to be concerned about cash flow and about, what your investment is. So you can social media is basically free except for your time. And if you're starting a practice, that's one thing that you got plenty of.
Figuring out a good referral source, how to get leads, as well as a case management, software, Best Case or Jubilee or whichever one you wanted to go with.
Having somebody answer the phone besides me.
I would find somebody who's doing bankruptcy, and I would go work for them for 6 months.
My first step would be to work on my system for tracking and nurturing and following up on new leads.
You got to make sure you got your marketing in place and know where those leads are coming from, and make sure that you convert, right? Just because you're getting them into the door, they got to choose to actually sign the dotted line with you.
To make sure that I have a process that's sound and that I can use for all of the consumer cases that I bring in. The process is a little different for business cases versus consumer cases, but I think focusing on that process and getting it on paper, working through it, and you can always make adjustments later, but I think having a process that's quantified in the beginning would be my first step.
Really, sales and marketing. You cannot start a practice without clients.
Learn as much as possible. When I started my bankruptcy practice, the California bar had 4-day courses for the newbie. And I went through that course. Then a year later, I went and took the same course again. A year later, I took the same course again. And the guy said, "Jerry, you know your stuff. Why are you here?" I said, "Because I always learn something new. I don't care who it's designed for. There's always good information." So you spend the time, you spend the effort, you spend the money to learn. And there's no such thing as know-it-all. Anybody that thinks they know it all knows not a damn thing.
So I think I would try to get some coaching on how to run a business, because you're like, I'm a lawyer, I'm going to have a bankruptcy firm and I should be able to figure everything out. But there's so many business aspects that you don't learn in law school. And so I would, try to focus on how to manage a law firm first and then, push forward. I think that would have, it's been doubling so far, but maybe it would have tripled or, who knows.
Find a niche in the bankruptcy area that you can fulfill, and then try and angle yourself for that and market yourself to other attorneys for it. because marketing direct to clients is an incredibly saturated, expensive market.
Get their phones in order. Make sure that you're not able to answer the phone. Get an answering service at least.
I'd hire a paralegal really early.
Automations.
To come to all of the NACBA conferences and learn about so much. They teach you everything here. Buy an Apple computer and not a Microsoft computer.
I would reach out to other local attorneys and try to network. I would join associations, find other professionals that could help me. I think that's the key to success, is having other people, other networks, other groups that can help you succeed as you learn.
I think more important than putting together a business plan is figuring out who are good referral sources and just getting your name out there. And basically making the connection by maybe referring cases to them so that they remember you and send cases back.
I would have opened my practice in Thibodaux. 20 miles north, it's a college town and growing. I chose a town that's declining.
Without leads, of course, you don't have clients. So I would make sure that I have an appropriate amount of money devoted to getting leads. We also have about a third of our clients are coming from past client relationships and referrals. So I would really make sure that I thank those who refer people to us and have a system in place where we're thankful, to them for referring, to build that up, and then also to continue communicating with previous clients to make sure they know that in the future we also do other practice areas that they might need.
It's be really looking at what the name of the practice is going to be. I don't necessarily know if it doesn't have to be, but I don't know if it's beneficial or not to maybe use the attorney's name and that practice name, or where you could just do, debt relief attorneys or bankruptcy attorney, something of that nature. So for me, the first thing I would do is look at what our name would be.
I think finding a good office location would be the first thing I'd do. And not too far after that, I'd find somebody very good to be my top assistant.
The first step would be to gather the right team together, which would be a solid IT person as well as a solid legal assistant or paraprofessional, that we can work together as a team, both in the substantive area of the law and all of the logistic and procedural areas of running a business.
Figure out how to go digital on everything. You have to get everything automated, signatures, the interview, everything must be put into high tech. And if you try to put a brick and mortar office together and think that you're going to be shuffling paper, then you're dead starting.